So Microsoft has recently released Microsoft Linux. It's technically called Azure Linux version 3. Now, if you didn't know there was a version 1 and a version 2, there was. Back in 2021, Microsoft released its first version of Linux, its first official version. I got a video about that. Then it was called CBL Mariner. Now they've renamed it to Azure Linux, and you'll see why in a few moments, and more about why it's got that naming in a few moments. But there's an ISO file which you can download and try today. So if you want to find out more, please let me explain. So the first thing we must mention about Azure Linux version 3 is that it is a command line only version of Linux. You're not going to get a desktop here at all. And we'll talk more about why that is in a moment. Now, even if you try to install a desktop, there are no desktop packages available in the official repositories that come along with this version 3 of Microsoft Linux. So you can't install one. So of course, it might be possible to build one from source, but why would you even bother? There are so many other Linux distros that you could install that you could do that with without any problem. So, command line only, and the idea is, of course, it's mainly aimed at people using Microsoft's cloud services. If you want to spin up a virtual machine, then you can use this version of Linux that they support, Microsoft supports, and updates and security patches and all that stuff for its cloud services. However, there's now an ISO file available so that you can give it a try. Now, the actual version 3 came out a little while ago, and the ISO file has only just been released. It's a community effort. That means it's not official from Microsoft. However, they do publish it on the GitHub page for you to download it. Now, once you download it, you're going to get a small, efficient version of Linux running. So it's Linux kernel 6.6, and when you boot it up, it's about 110, 115 megs of memory. That's all. And of course, that fits in very well with the idea of spinning up these in the cloud, a microservice, a virtual machine, whatever it is you're doing with it, you can get them up there pretty quick to boot and not very resource hungry. Now, there are lots and lots of packages available from the official repositories, but as I said, no desktop, for example, and there are other things that are kind of missing that would be important if you were running this in a home network. If you're running it in a server, it's fine. You can do Node.js, there's Python, you can Apache, MySQL, Postfix email server, the Rabbit MQTT server, whatever you want, you can do that. All that stuff you might want to do out on the internet, it's all there. For the home server, not quite the same situation. For example, there's no Samba. That means you're not going to get any Microsoft networking, so you can't share a drive. That means if you're trying to do network attached storage, that really isn't going to work. I also tried things like the VS Code web version. That won't install. Obviously things like Open Media Vault, Casa OS, none of those are going to install. I did manage to install Plex. That worked okay. So if you want it for your home network and you want to run Plex, that is going to work. If you're running your own email server or something like that, you could do that with this distro. So you have to be aware there are some things that are there and some things that are missing. Now, of course, as I said about the desktop, you could install Samba from the source code, download the source code, compile it all, install it and get it working that way. But like I said with the desktop, why bother? There's so many other Linux distros you could install that give you those things if those are the things you're looking for. So this is version 3. Microsoft have been producing this now since 2021, and it's obviously intended for these cloud services. Now, Microsoft are not planning on replacing the Windows kernel with a Linux kernel. This is not an effort to do that. It's not all even available for the Windows subsystem for Linux, which I think is a shame. It would be good if they provided it for that, but it's not available for that either. And the reason the desktop isn't available is because clearly Microsoft want to make a difference between a cloud server operating system, Linux in this particular case, and its desktop offerings, which would be Windows 11. And it doesn't want to encroach on its existing Windows 11 market by providing an official Microsoft Linux with a desktop. Maybe it would pick GNOME desktop, maybe it would pick KDE, maybe it would pick XFCE, and then that would really become the official Microsoft. So not doing any of that. It's just for the server so that you can run these primarily in the cloud, but wherever really you want. Okay, that's it. My name's Gary Sims. This is Gary Explains. Love to hear what you think about Microsoft Azure Linux version 3. Have you tried it out? Did you download that ISO file? Do let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you like these kind of videos, then why not stick around by subscribing to the channel? Okay, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.